Hello, good morning, and welcome to Morning Brew on Politics Social with me, Graham Hughes. Sorry about the lateness there. I had a camera trouble. Sitting here, ready to go, and then the camera starts glitching. It might start doing it again while I am streaming. If it does, let me know, because I might not be looking at the monitor, so I might not actually know that the visuals aren't working properly. It went all glitchy. Which is not good. So it is Tuesday, the 30th of December, 2025, which is running into its final hours now of depravity and sin and wretchedness. We are not far off the next new year, I guess. I'm still in Liverpool, back in Liverpool. Let's move this over so it's a little bit more simple. Oh, actually, no, you know what I could do? Just move. There you go. Got the power. It's alive, says One Angry Pagan. Also, One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the first super chat of the morning. That is amazing. Frigs, love and blessing your wonderful Badger clan. Oh, that is so kind of you. Thank you. It's crazy when you drive halfway across Liverpool to get here, and you get all ready and you get all prepped and you do all the show stuff, and then you get everything plugged in, because I'm using my laptop, so obviously I'm moving around a bit. And then you're like, okay, ready to go now, 9 o'clock, on the knocker, ready to go. And the camera doesn't work. The camera's glitching. Did anyone see Suzanne Moore, the Telegraph, this morning, threatening trans people with eradication? No, but that doesn't surprise me. Suzanne Moore is absolutely horrific. Is she related to Charles Moore, who's another one of those Telegraph gobshites? Possibly. It's all nepotism, isn't it? Don't talk to me about British tradition. It's all nepotism and the rum and the lash. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about free speech, which is something that the right tend to bang on about like crazy mofos all the time. And why is it always the case that when it's them saying something horrible or hurtful or something that can get people killed, that's okay, and any curtailment of them saying something stupid and horrible is not. It's wrong that they get put in jail. Lucy Connolly, she was invited to come and strut around on the stage at the RefUK rally, the RefUK rally, and she served a prison sentence for breaking the law, incitement to violence. That's what she was jailed under. A law that came in the 1980s under Margaret Hilda Thatcher, a Tory, I believe, a Tory. The Tories brought that rule in, and she was found guilty in a court of law, an independent court of law, not a court of law that's controlled somehow miraculously by Keir Starmer. And now we've got something similar going on, where the Tories are going, why are you letting this person come into this country? Why are you letting this person say horrible things? Why have you given him a passport? And you're like, excuse me, Mr. Tory with a squeaky voice. Who was in power in 2021 when this guy was given a passport? Oh, it was the Conservatives. Oh, was it? Okay. So the Conservatives were in power. Who were the people who were calling for this guy to be let out of jail in Egypt? Who was it? Was it the Tories by any chance? Was it? Yeah, funny that, isn't it? Suzanne Moore is a disgusting person. I think she's on my list. I think she's on my private school mafia list. If not, she might be on it soon. So we've entered this period, and there's going to be no news to anyone who just watches the news, keeps up with the news. It's being used as a political shield, not like a universal principle. It's really important to understand this. We don't have free speech in this country. Any dickhead who goes, free speech in this country, it's a violation of my inalienable right to freedom of speech. There is no freedom of speech in this country. There are no positive rights. We do not have a Bill of Rights. We don't have a written constitution. You are only allowed to do what the law. Well, there's a law saying you can't do something. You can't do that. You can do anything else. Basically, we have freedom from in this country rather than freedom to do stuff. Right? We have no rules saying you can say what you like and be held with the consequences. That doesn't exist. It barely exists in America, where there is a constitutional amendment, the First Amendment to the Constitution, which is also known as the Bill of Rights. The first 10 things are called the Bill of Rights, but no one can remember what the other 8 are. No, 7, I guess. You got to take the 5th. You don't have to incriminate yourself, and then there's the stupid thing about guns. But yeah, the first one is the government. The government must not impede your freedom of speech, right? Right? Does that sound sensible? Okay, fair enough. That stops the government, I don't know, suing newspapers, suing the BBC. Yeah. For saying hurty words they don't like. Are supposed to, anyway. Over here, we don't have that. We don't have that amendment to the Constitution. And even in America, it's just the government. It's not private enterprise. You know, you're not free to write whatever you want on the internet because it's all owned by somebody. It's not run by the US government. If it was run by the US government, you can say what you like. But it's not. It's run by private companies, and they are under no obligation to keep you on their platform if you, I don't know, slag off the person who owns the platform, I guess. I mean, you know, I'm not particularly happy about being kicked off Twitter for suggesting that wouldn't it be great if Elon Musk just, stopped. But I can understand, I can understand their reasoning for that. I'm not going to complain about it because I'm never going to use Twitter again after that monster took it over and then started killing babies in Mozambique and Sudan. But yeah, you got to understand that there are limitations to freedom of speech. You can't shout fire in a crowded theatre. You can't incite people to violence. You can't stand up in front of a crowd of people and say, hey, let's go and burn down our own parliament building like Hitler did. Like Trump did. But yeah, Billy Free Speech or Ms. Moore. Well, it's freeze speech. You got to freeze those peaches. Donkey Dave did a vid on this morning. Oh, really? Okay, cool. Is she on your private school list? Remover, state educated in Ipswich and Middlesex Poly. Okay, Miss Paul's house. I don't know. I don't have the list in front of me, and there's 1,302 names on it at the moment. It needs updating on the website. Yeah, I need to put Kate Winslet's Nepo babies on there. Charles Moore is definitely on there, though. Patrick Moore, I think he's on there. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. What they mean, want freedom to hate. Oh yeah, absolutely, my friend. I mean that is absolutely what they want. So, but thank you for the super chat. It's very kind of you. Let's set a goal. Should we set a goal? We'll just do 5 super chats today because everyone's a bit hungover. Any colours, New Year confetti, yay! Which will make everyone very, very excited. Sorry, I just did something wrong. I hate it when I make a mistake and people are watching. They can't see what I'm doing. I typed in celebration rather than party. Oh, One Angry Pagan and spread hate. Yes, One Angry Pagan. Well, that's what they want to do. They want to spread hate. They want to do it with impunity. But if someone from the left criticises someone from the right, it's suddenly, oh no, you can't say that, Gary Lineker. You can't say that, Mitch Benn. You can't say that, Robin Ince. We're going to cancel you. It's funny that. It's almost as if there's one rule for them and another for the rest of us. So yes, free speech hypocrisy across the UK, US and Europe. Right-wing actors are branding themselves as defenders of free speech while demanding the silencing, deportation or punishment, otherwise suing, of left-wing critics and minorities. And the current trigger on this is this Abd el-Fattah, this Egyptian who has British citizenship. He has a British passport because his mum was born in Britain. The people are now calling for his citizenship to be revoked. And this is going to be a test case revealing how citizenship is conditional for some Britons and it's not for others. And I think that is unfair. I completely understand why we would want to not allow people to become a citizen in this country if they've done some horrible things in the past. I completely understand that. But once citizenship is granted, I think that they are now a citizen in this country. End of. Whether it's Shamima Begum, who went over to Syria to fight with ISIS at the age of 15 after being groomed by terrorist insurgents, or whether it's this guy here from Egypt who is, has said some really horrible things on the internet, and I'm not going to defend what he said by any stretch of the imagination. He has apologised, by the way, but which is more than the right ever do. But I think it's unfair that they can be punished in a way that I can't, because I only have a British passport. Now, if I had a British passport and another passport, I could have this special punishment that is reserved for people with two passports, people who have dual citizenship. You can't take the passport off someone who only has one citizenship, which is why I think it's imperative that when we have these billionaires, these British billionaires going abroad with all their ill-gotten gains and saying, I don't want to have to pay 0.01% tax on my mansion in Chelsea, it's very important that we take all their money off them before they leave, and their passport. If we're going to be fair about it, but we won't, because that's not the rule, is it? So could you imagine, like, you get done for speeding, but because of the colour of your skin, you get a lifetime ban from driving, whereas if you are white, then you don't, because that punishment is not available for you. Yeah, I'm probably not explaining this very well, but that's what it comes down to. Is like, do you have an accent? Are you brown? Are you black? Well, yeah, okay. Well then, we can say we have a punishment that we can give you that we can't give to other people, that we can't give to the majority of the people, and I think that's wrong. I do. I understand the compulsion for people to say, well, they shouldn't have got citizenship in the first place. Yes, but they did. You might as well say, oh, well, they shouldn't have been born here in the first place. For people who were born here and have citizenship, well, they shouldn't have been born in the first place. Well, they were. That's happened. Can't go back now. He was granted citizenship under the Tories, who said, yeah, this guy's a good egg. He's in jail in Egypt for being a political dissident. And if he wants to come over and live in Britain, he's very welcome to do so. And then it emerged that he said some really horrific tweets about Jewish people. Idi Amin once said, there is freedom of speech, but I cannot guarantee freedom after speech. Yeah. Well, that's what they want, isn't it? As one angry pagan said, they just want freedom from consequences. Those on the right, they want to be able to say what they want. Unless your surname is Begum. Yes, exactly. I mentioned her. Chickens in tiny waistcoats. Yes, absolutely does. And Emma always used to say I was a gobshite, so I better put that skill to use. The question is, who may dissent? Yeah. Indeed. George, yeah, that quote. Yeah, at least he was honest. Well, he was an honest butcher of his own people. That guy murdered hundreds of disabled people, He had them all transported from the capital to Lake Victoria, and then he had them like drowned in the lake. It's so horrific. The stories that came out about what Idi Amin did in the 1970s, fucking mind-blowing. One Angry Pagan, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. That is very kind of you. No practical definition of freedom would be complete without the freedom to take the consequences. Lord Veterinary going postal, Terry Pratchett. Well, there you go. I mean, that's well put by the king, by Sir Terry. Yeah, I thought it was going to be like Voltaire or something, or Jean-Jacques Rousseau, but no, it's Terry Pratchett. One of our own. Awesome, love him. Idi Amin and Johnson nearly have the same body count. It's true. The headline in every newspaper every day should simply read priorities and a dictionary explanation of it, because the world seems to have forgotten the meaning of the word, says Beats Music. Well, yeah. But, we've got to talk about this test case now of citizenship. And our definition of free speech and what it means, what it means to be able to say whatever you like. I think that's solid. I think that is there. But as we're already pointing out quite eruditely in the comments here, it doesn't mean freedom from consequences. If you do a shitty thing, you should face the consequences of being called out for saying that shitty thing. Yeah, that isn't that right? I mean, you go into the pub and you read out this screed that you've written about how ugly the publican is and how stupid he is and how he smells of cabbage, that publican, the guy who runs the pub, has every right to bar you from his pub because it's his pub. There's the consequence. You had your free speech, and there's the consequence. There's the consequence of your free speech. You can no longer get a pint in your local. And then you've got this idea, this right-wing idea of free speech absolutism, which is you can say anything you like and there are no consequences. In Nigel Farage's fucked up little fucking monkey brain, he has decided that it would be great if he could go into the pub, absolutely slag off the landlord or landlady, and still continues to drink there for the rest of his life. Because that's the upbringing he's had in Dulwich College and all the pampered privilege that this motherfucker has had in his privileged, pampered life. He's used to that. He's used to being able to get away with murder. When other children in other schools who said something racist or said something anti-Semitic would have been pulled aside and given detentions and perhaps even expelled for bullying, he was given gongs by his school because, this is what these cunt farms do. This is what they do. We know this is what they do. And I'm sorry for people who had to go through that and came out the other side and are all right, kind of, after their experiences of being abused as children by being put in these posh borstals, which is essentially what they are. The few, those happy few that managed to get out the other side without becoming twisted monsters, which is the minority, I do believe. I'm sorry for them, but everyone else. I mean, Nigel Farage, free speech absolutism, him, Farage and Trump and Musk, they all present themselves, don't they, as the persecuted truth tellers, when all they do is fucking lie. They lie all the time. They say, we never said that, and then they show them some footage of them saying that thing that they actually just fucking said. Cue audience laughter, and I'm sitting there going, it's not funny though. It's not funny. It gets to a point where it's like the people who love these dickheads, they'll believe anything, believe absolutely anything, which isn't great. And Americans don't understand their own constitution. It's free speech against the government, but not the freedom to say what you like with no consequences. Yeah. And so in the UK, we don't even have that part of our constitution, unwritten constitution, that says you can say what you like. We don't even have that. And yet people think that we have this American Plus system where you can say what you like and not face consequences. Farage, Musk and Trump, they all cry censorship when criticised, but they demand suppression when they themselves are challenged. Musk has called watchdogs on the internet evil. Trump has banned critics and comedians from visiting the US. Farage is demanding revocations of things, mean things that have been said about him. And this is the standard move, isn't it, with the right wings? You insult left-wing critics, claim persecution, and you monetize the grievance that comes with it. This strategy, it funds book sales of your book. Help, I've been cancelled, and conference appearances like the Lucy Connolly fucking woman, and grievance feeds the business model. And the left calls Farage racist, and apparently that's silencing political opponents, and he got to start shouting Bernard Manning at people, whereas Farage is calling migrants invaders. He's saying, that's legitimate speech, using dehumanizing language towards women and children fleeing persecution. And then you got the selective rules of cancel culture. Cancel culture was a term made up by the right to complain about the fact that they were being cancelled, when it's really the right that do all the cancelling. Think about in the 1980s when you had Mary Whitehouse running around going, let's ban all films, remember video nasties? There was that wonderful list of, was it 88 video nasties, because you couldn't watch them because no adult could watch them in this country. How infantilizing is that? In the 1980s, you were a fully grown, sane adult, and you couldn't watch a particular movie, let's say The Exorcist or Driller Killer or Last House on the Left or whatever was on this list. You couldn't legally watch that movie in this country. But if you went to France on holiday, you could watch it. French people could watch it, Canadians could watch it, Americans could watch it, Australians could watch it, but British people couldn't watch it. It was too much for them. If they watch that film, they go crazy and start killing each other with knives. And then remember the hoo-ha in the 90s about Carmageddon. There was this game that came out where you had to like run people over, and you got points for running people over, just like in Death Race 2000, the original film from the 70s, starring David Carradine. And you look at this going, why are you banning it? Oh, because you'll encourage people to go out in their car and run people over. No, we fucking won't. What the hell is wrong with you? What, you think that if someone reads Frankenstein, they're going to go, oh, I know, I'm going to make myself I'm going to make these bits of human bodies. I'm going to stitch them all together and make it come to life now. No, it doesn't work like that. It's monkey see, monkey do, but how patronising. So all the way along, I mean, censorship, going back to the 1960s, Lady Chatterley's Lover being banned, and Penguin going to court to try and get this book that you could read in other countries. You could read it in different languages. You could read it in French. You just couldn't read it in English. And you're like, what? But, you know, your British people needed protection. You know, a lot of those pornos in the sex comedies in the 1970s, right? A lot of them had hardcore sex in it, right? Not in the British version. It was cut out the British version because your British people might see hardcore sex and go crazy. And this is it. All the way along, it's always been the right wing, the Tories, the RefUK fuckers, the Republicans, the Trumpers, the Faragists, who have always tried to ban things, always said, oh no, we don't want this, no. They are the kings and queens of cancel culture, and yet they have made up this term now to criticise us, not for stopping people from saying things or doing things, but by having the wherewithal to say, we are not going to buy your product anymore. Whatever you're selling, we're not buying it. That's what cancel culture is. Really, when it comes down to it, it's capitalism. That's what it is. It's like, no, I'm not going to buy a product from Levi's anymore because I went to take my ripped Levi's jeans back, and they've got this, you know, the logo of Levi's is a pair of jeans being pulled apart by two horses, and the guy in the shop is like, did you use fabric softener on these jeans? Did you use fabric? So in the 1860s, these jeans could basically stay together even when being pulled apart by two horses. That was the boast. That was what the company was saying. And on these pair of jeans that have that logo on the little patch on the top of the belt, right? By the belt loops at the back. It has that logo. It has that image of a pair of jeans being pulled apart by two horses. But apparently fabric softener these days, that fabric softener, that's too much. Absolutely insane. Yeah, anyway, consequences. I don't know why I started talking about jeans. I'm still waiting for this ADHD medication to kick in. But, you know, I'll tell you what, just to go off on a little bit of a tangent about ADHD. Since I started taking these tablets, right, last week, my temporal perception has improved. Like, time seems to be running slower than it did before. Like, I've got more time now to do stuff, whereas I was rushing around before because time just seemed to disappear. So that's good. Pete Cat says Death Race 2000 is Roger Corman's masterpiece. It is pretty good. Yuri Infectinov, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Time for the left to start calling out the blatant lies of the right, especially politically. Yes, well, I try my best. But yeah, the right just lie again. But it needs to be curtailed. We need to look at social media and traditional media, the TV, gammon box news, lying all the time, being censured by Ofcom all the fucking time. And was it like 15 times now they've been found guilty of breaking the rules? And has anything been done? Has it? Fuck. Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. In the US, the government can't limit free speech. Private entities like TV companies, social media platforms can place limits, any limits they want. Yeah, absolutely. Well, don't forget, it's the right wing in America that allowed TV shows and things to be as violent as fuck, but they wouldn't allow the word fuck. Okay. And Tim Ballum there with a £5 super chat. Thank you. So why are Labour censoring the internet to the extent where you will have to install government software to scan all the files on your phone? Says Tim. I didn't know that they were doing that, Tim. I think that's you'll have to give me some more information. Labour are censoring the internet, so I'll have to install government software to scan all of the files on my phone. I'm not gonna go for that. Is that a new law? The government said that they're gonna look at everyone's phone. You have to give me a link or something. Yuri, I love a bit of Milligan. Fresh Fruit song is mint. He looks like J.K. Rowling. What, Spike Milligan? People have been using fabric softener for years, including on Levi's. Yeah, but Liz, if you use fabric softener, that's it. They just fall apart in 6 weeks. And it's just crazy times, isn't it? I'm going to have to buy a pair of vintage jeans, aren't I, from the 1990s or something that actually fucking don't fall apart because they're made of decent material and decent stitching. The digital protection thing that's going through, that's from Rosebud. Digital protection thing. Okay, let's have a look at some more of this. Right, digital protection laws, UK, government. What was it? A government app that reads all your private data. Okay, cool. Let's have a look. There is no government app that reads all your private data. Yeah, but this is AI, so can we trust you? The claim such an app exists is planned without safeguards. It's a conspiracy theory. UK digital protection laws strictly regulate how government bodies can access personal data. So the GDPR Act of 2018 outlined a set of data protection principles. So they're going to get rid of, Tim, are they getting rid of GDPR? I need more evidence on this, mate, because it just sounds a little bit far-fetched. And like, what would they do with all that data? There'd be so much data. Oh my God, could you imagine everyone's shopping lists? Anyway, then again, I mean, all my fucking data's online. Fabric softener is shit for your clothes anyway. It's making everything smell gone off. Yeah, but pisses me off. You can't buy men's flares, but women can. And yes, I've been tempted. Yeah, I much prefer flares than the ones that go in at the legs, make you look like the fucking penguin from Batman. Petabytes every day. Yeah, Daylight, you're talking about a ridiculous amount of... But then again, you know, this is what these AI centres are for, to go through your shopping list to find out what you've been buying. I don't know. But yeah, Tim, you'll have to give me some more information on this, mate, because government software to scan all the files on your phone. Yeah, that's a bit... it sounds a bit far-fetched. Sorry, but thanks for the money. Tim's saying like, fuck you, Graham. You take me money and then you say I'm talking bollocks. But yeah, Free Speech Union spends its time suppressing woke speech only, especially trans voices. Yep, that's true. ... And Early Burn says, I always sign off with love, light and peace as a tribute to Spike. Oh, I love the fact on his grave it says, I told you I was ill. So yes, this standard move is like, you know, to monetize the grievance and all that. And if the left calls Farage racist, then, you know, he immediately hammers back at them, even when we've had numerous cases of people he went to school with saying no, he was racist, and instead of saying sorry, like the guy who did these tweets actually has said he is sorry, he said it, which is good, I guess. Farage has not apologised. Farage has not apologised for the horrible things he said in school. To what is it? 30 people have come forward now to say they witnessed it, or you know, were at the forefront of it. Thank you to Tim. Any cloud backup will be classed as publishing, has to be scanned by AI and reported if it breaks their rules. Tim, okay, so thanks very much for the £5 super chat. I'm going to pull the old Intervis Nullius here. Intervis Nullius? That's not the word. Inverba Nullius. On nobody's word. I'm getting me Latin mixed up. I'm not very good at Latin. I don't really know any Latin. But the idea that you don't take anyone's word for it. Can you give me some kind of tell me what words I need to put into the House of Commons library to find out where this thing's coming in to say that the government's going to spy on everything that we put in the cloud. Confetti. Oh, cause shit, we got the confetti. Woohoo! Thanks even more, Tim. That's brilliant. Thank you for the chat and the confetti. Thank you very much. Oh my God, is Spike dead? He was so funny. Yeah, sorry to break it to you, bad fairy. But yeah, Spike Milligan is no longer with us. There's some software called Pegasus developed by the Israelis, and your argument you might be up against with Levi's is they didn't have fabric softeners back in 1873, did they? Yeah, true. Farage accuses victims of having a good memory. Yeah, better memory than him. He doesn't remember it, so he can't apologise for it. You know, if anyone on the left had been stung with something like that, where it said you did this horrible thing in school, the right thing to do is to say sorry. Is to just go, oh yeah, I was a kid, I was an idiot kid. I'm very sorry. I should have said sorry earlier. You know, off my own back, but he was never going to do that, was he? The argument you might have made against Levi's. I just read this one, George, but thank you very much for the super chat to double up on it. They didn't have fabric softeners back in 1873. Yeah, there's bloody fabric softeners. This is like acid on your clothes. It's like moths. It just has loads of little moths that just fly all over your clothes and lay their eggs and eat them. Eat all your fabric. Eat your jeans away, they do. David Faulkner, thank you very much for the £38 Hong Kong dollars. Thank you. That's very kind of you. The illusion of freedom continues as long as it's profitable for the wealthy to maintain it. Frank Zappa, confetti. Yes, that is true. Such as times of societal disruption, it's easy to fall into absolute thinking. Too easy to become prey to ideology and simple answers. Beware the traps set before us. Oh, God. Yeah, you're right. And the traps of everyday life. Like, everyday life is just a series of traps every day. You make one mistake and it'll cost you. And then things go wrong and it's not your fault. Yeah, it'll cost you. Can't remember your password for that parking app that you signed up for 17 years ago. Oh well, you're gonna have fun trying to park in Liverpool, aren't you? Mr. Tisk, as I've said before, British citizenship has two classes at least. We mostly get different treatment at foreign immigration because one of us is born in Iraq. Yeah, Mr. Tisk, that happens as well. I mean, that you've got the everyday discrimination against people who look different or dress differently, but also we have discrimination in law, because if you have a punishment that can be meted out to one group of people but can't be meted out to another, that's not fair. That's it. And yeah, and like, you know, the you got the sort of the selective rules, haven't you, of cancel culture. When the right says something vile, it's always robust debate. It's always the free exchange of ideas, isn't it? You know, they're platformed at conferences, they're given newspaper columns and invited onto TV panels to air the same vile views again and again. You know, when the left says something vile, it's revoke their citizenship, deport them, they're un-British. And Abd el-Fattah's decade-old posts used to argue that he should being used to argue that he should lose his legal status as a Briton is ridiculous. Yes, he should face criticism for what he said. Yes, he should apologise. Yes, he should say a bunch of, I don't know, Our Fathers and Hail Marys or whatever you need to do to be forgiven in this day and age. But at the same time, like, he should not be stripped of his British citizenship, because that is not something they could do to me. And I think it's disgusting that it was done to Shamima Begum. I think that was horrible that it was done to her. It should not have been done to her. She lived here, she was born here, she grew up here, and just because she may or may not have had a Bangladeshi passport, why does she face a different kind of punishment to if, I don't know, Lawrence Fox had been the one going over to Syria to fight against Western imperialism, Western decadence, or whatever it is. It's in the online safety bill. They can require client-side scanning, so it's in the online safety bill. Thank you very much, Tim. If it is in the one online safety bill, wouldn't it then go against GDPR? Are they looking at the GDPR rules again and going to get rid of that so the government can spy on us and read all our files, Tim? Is that the plan? Is that the plan? I don't know. Zappa was a genius visionary. He also called his daughter Moon Unit. Moon Unit. He called his... Because, you know, drugs. But yes, when the left criticises the right, we get censored. We get told that this is anti-free speech. We get told that this is elitist censorship. We get these dickheads on the radio going, "I'm so sick of being called a racist. Why is everyone always calling me a racist?" They always say, you know, it's the first thing they go to. They go, "That's racist." And I'm like, if you say a racist thing, I think it's, you know, quite right that people call it out and call you a racist. That's fine. You know, prove you're not a racist. And this is the thing, like, I've never, so far in, you know, been called, so far in my life, I have never been seriously accused of being racist, or homophobic, or transphobic, or anti-Semitic, or Islamophobic. And I talk for hours every day on the internet. I stream it. I stream my brain farts live and interactive with you. You're so lucky. And I don't get these accusations. And I mean, maybe I've said stuff in the past that was a bit shit. Maybe, you know, I've done things in the past that I'm not proud of, and I think about them and I feel awful, and I've tried to apologise where I can. But, you know, since social media came along, and don't forget, I was on MySpace 20 years ago. I've not put anything online that's particularly vile. That's particularly, oh my God, I can't believe that 29-year-old Graham said that. And if he did, he deserves to, you know, get in a time machine and go back and give myself a slap. But how come? That's weird to me. It's like, how come these obviously vile people like Nigel Farage, you know, can't go without saying something horrible? And if they are found out about it, they won't apologise. Whereas, and they're like, oh, but if you mention this stuff, if you talk about Israel, you get told that you're anti-Semitic. No one's ever called me anti-Semitic. It would be a bit of a surprise to many of my Jewish friends if people thought that of me. It would be a surprise to me as well, because I'm happy to criticise the actions of the IDF and the Israeli government, and particularly Benjamin Netanyahu, who is a cunt, every day. I will criticise them every fucking day of my life if I want to, but I mean, I'm not having a go at Jewish people. In the same way I'll have a pop at fucking Saudi Arabia for being a fucking backward basket case, but I've never been told, oh, look at you hate the Muslims. I absolutely do not. I think Muslim people living in Saudi Arabia would be having a better time if the government of Saudi Arabia weren't so fucking vile. I know for a fact that the Muslim people of Iran would be having a much better time if their government wasn't so fucking vile. They killed more people than ever before, I think, last year. The government of Iran. These countries running around killing people. Saying, oh yeah, murder's bad, but it's alright when we do it. This is wrong. The Online Safety Act was passed in 2023 under the Tories. Why are people blaming Labour? I don't know, Miss Paula Thomas. I don't really get this. It's not anything that I've heard about, like the government reading all our emails. And honestly, I mean, on the balance of probability, just the amount of time and effort and money it'll take to do what, you know, discover that you... I don't know. I don't know what secret things they would discover about me if they could read my emails. Possibly the fact that I fucking hate Donald Trump. I fucking hate Farage. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, the hypocrisy here is underlined by the fact that when it's someone on the left saying something vile, it's deport them. When it's someone on the right saying something vile, it's defend them. When it's someone on the left criticising someone on the right, it's how dare you, this is disgraceful, we need you off the BBC. When it's someone on the right criticising someone on the left, that's fair game. Who's actually been silenced? Who has been silenced in Britain? Like Liz Truss is now on the internet being crap. You've got that Graham Linehan creep who's given loads of money by transphobic organisations and oil companies. You've got J.K. Rowling. Is she being cancelled for her transphobic views? Is she? Fuck. She's just got a new TV series based on her Harry Potter bullshit. You know, who's that? Give me names. Who's actually been silenced? I'll tell you who has been kind of silenced. Mitch Benn, Robin Ince, Gary Lineker. And they haven't been really silenced because obviously Gary Lineker still has Goalhanger, his very successful podcast company. But the others, I mean, you know, Mitch Benn used to be on Radio 4 all the time. All the fucking time. Now you hardly ever hear from him because, you know, he was too woke. He was talking about Brexit and they didn't want him talking about Brexit because the BBC wanted to pretend that Brexit didn't exist. I was on the BBC a few times after, you know, Brexit vote, and I was specifically told not to talk about Brexit. I was once asked to be a guest on Richard Osman's House of Games, and I was going to be someone in the audience who basically, oh, look at this. This is what was happening. This is what was happening. This is my problem. You know, when I said that I was having a problem with my camera, this is what was happening. It was glitching like this. It's just happened since I'm just gonna disconnect my camera and I'm gonna connect it again. All right. You can still hear me, I know, but we're going to have to do a little bit of a reset here. Sorry about this. I should have just smiled when I knew that it was gonna just it was gonna stop there. Let's see. Come on. Yes, I'm back from outer space. Hello. Not happy about this camera not working properly. It's an expensive camera. Why aren't you working? The trans community we weren't allowed to speak at our own Supreme Court hearing. Yes, Gallifreyan, yeah. So when we talk about people who have been silenced, it's not the millionaires, is it? It's not the billionaires. It's not the people on the right. It's not the private school mafia. No, not them. Not them. Has anyone fallen out the window? Yeah. Yori says, what amazes me is Rowling was demonized for writing about witchcraft by the Looney God Squad, and now she's anti-trans. She's treated like she's the second coming of Christ. Yeah. They used to burn Harry Potter books back in the day. You know, they used to burn them because they said they were witchcraft. The last generation has been silenced and partially imprisoned. The last generation, which is the last generation. This one voted for Seagullis. The silly fools that elected Seagulls, yeah. But he's been kicked out now, hasn't he? He's not an MP anymore. He's moved to RefUK, hasn't he? Yeah, we talked about that. But yeah, I mean, can we talk a little bit about this sort of citizenship as a two-tier system? So there's a core legal point here that citizenship stripping is only possible for people with dual citizenship, right? If you've got another nationality, you can have your British passport taken on. That's why it means that Britons with dual heritage can face a punishment that white, generally, mono-national Britons cannot, regardless of the offence. And the implication here is that equality before the law collapses because we're not getting an equal punishment. We're not getting equal treatment before the law. Two citizens committing the same act can receive incredibly different outcomes based solely on ancestry and paperwork. You can criticize Britain, offend Britain, threaten Britain, but only if you have one passport. And if you do something like that and you have two passports, you can have a punishment that is only meted out to you. It can't be meted out to me. And so is this about national security or is this about racial hierarchy? And, you know, a justice system that depends on your parents' birthplace, I don't think is fair. The law is supposed to be blind to stuff like this. This is why the nice lady on top of the Old Bailey or where the fucking building is, she's holding out the scales of justice and she's blind. She's got a blindfold on because she's supposed to be blind to people's colour and people's accents and the way people dress. And you should just make a judgment based on the crime committed and give a punishment that is right for the crime. And if you're going to say that people should have their citizenship revoked for saying horrible things, there's Nigel Farage right there. Go on, get him. Sorry, Mr. Farage, you can't have a passport anymore. Not only is Nigel Farage going to get away with saying horrible things on the internet, in real life, in school, being a bully, not only is he going to get away with that, he does stand a good chance of becoming our next Prime Minister, believe it or not. So here we go. We got tweets from 10, 15 years ago. Suddenly a national security crisis. And yet, speeches advocating deportations, race-based immigration caps or religious bans are treated as an ordinary politics. Bullshit going out about Sharia law taking over the country is allowed to fester. It's allowed to go out there. And if the test is causing harm, what is causing more harm? I mean, tweets from 2011 or policies that rip up rights and target minorities and embolden the extremists who know that they can get away with saying and doing anything, pretty much, short of actually advocating violence against a minority. But even if they do plead guilty to that and go to jail for it, they come out and they're treated like bloody royalty by the RefUK fuckers. That's madness, absolutely madness. And then you have the idea of Britishness as a birthright versus Britishness as your values, and that there is a rising share of voters that believe you must be born British, born in this country to be truly British, and this shifts citizenship from legal status to bloodline, and excluding people from being British by their heritage. And I don't want that world. I don't want that country. It's not working. We talk about multiculturalism. We've got a Muslim mayor of New York now, but also of London. We had a Sikh prime minister, a Hindu prime minister in Rishi Sunak. We've now got a black woman who grew up in Nigeria as the leader of the Conservative Party. Great. Multiculturalism's obviously worked to some extent, eh? But this idea that we can, critics of the system who weren't born here can be framed as less British and therefore disposable. We can get rid of them, and we have to have some blood tests to decide whether we are British or not. It's nonsense. But this is what the right are pushing. This is the narrative that the right want to push on us all. And citizenship. Yes, you need to go to citizenship classes. You need to learn English to become a citizen here. You need to do a lot of things. You got to jump through a lot of hoops. But it's something that is earned, and then something that's shared. It's something that's lived. It's not something that's inherited, like a family heirloom. And the idea that you can only be British, and what they mean is you can only be British if you're white. That's what they mean if you read between the lines. The idea is vile, especially how well Britain has done out of being a world city, a world country, a country where people from all over the world want to come here. And people from all of the 55 other members of the Commonwealth think this is kind of a groovy place. If you don't want people to come here, make your place really shit. Which is, I think, what the Tories' policy was. They thought if you make Britain absolutely bloody awful, then people will stop coming here. Didn't work though, did it? The propaganda put out about how great Britain is during the age of empire. It's still in place, isn't it? You're not going to get rid of that in a few years with a stupid vote to leave the EU. But yeah, the free speech in the UK, comparing it with the US. In the US, free speech is framed as absolute, but then you've got immigrants and critics and journalists being banned. You've got visa bans on critics of any. There's been visa bans for people criticising harmful speech online. It's like. So you haven't gone after the people who've written the actual harmful speech. No, you've gone after the people who've criticised the harmful speech. Yeah. Okay. And this is being policed through immigration, not by law. And we seem to be falling down the same rabbit hole here in the UK. If we go down the whole, we'll deport them. We'll deport them for saying hurty words on the internet. Can we deport Farage? Can we? Can we take this all the way? And then we've got the way that the US has gone absolutely bonkers over the EU making the platforms that pump out this nonsense, actually holding them to account and actually fining Meta and fining Twitter for allowing this bullshit to get out there. And, both sides in the US and the UK on the right, they use this concept of free speech to defend their own power. You know, not universal liberty, but just empowering themselves. That's what it's all about, and it's used as a narrative weapon, not as a consistent principle, and that's wrong. And you know. What actually do we need to protect citizens? Do we need responsible platforms that don't allow bullshit out there? We've got a mad system now where so many of these websites, news websites, you have to pay to read them. The ones that are vetted, the ones that are true, the ones that can be sued if they print nonsense. You have to pay to use them, but then anyone can make up a lie on the internet, and it gets all around the world before the truth has got its pants on. And that is devastating. That is devastatingly bad for society. That bullshit not only is allowed a free reign, and you see sites like the Daily Mail are free, whereas sites like the Times, which might actually, you know, have some interesting articles. The Financial Times, that's a good example. It's behind a paywall. The Financial Times is the only newspaper that I look at and go, okay, you know, you got some actual news in there on the front page, rather than here's my opinion about the news, which is what fills up the newspapers. They're not newspapers, they're opinion papers. The opinions of the privately educated metropolitan elite, or rural elite in some cases. One of the pull factors of the UK is language. So if you switch to Finnish and make it mandatory, immigration will drop significantly. Nobody understands Finnish. That's very true. I don't even think the Finnish understand Finnish. It's a very strange language. No one knows where it came from. I think it might be alien. David says, as an ex-colleague, I knew once spoke of racial purity and British heritage while being married to a foreign-born woman and having brown skin, mixed-race kids. Hypocrisy knows no bounds. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Greengrass says, I'm half English, half Vietnamese. I've lived here for 8 years. I'm trying my best to fit in. I understand we aren't born and bred here, but I definitely see a shift recently here. Yeah, I'm like, I don't care. I'm like that line up in Scotland when they said, if you live in Scotland and you regard yourself as Scottish, you're Scottish. And I feel that about Liverpool. I've got some really good friends here in Liverpool who aren't Scousers. They weren't born here, but Liverpool, because they came here for uni or whatever reason and decided to stay, Liverpool's become their adopted home, and they are Scousers as far as I'm concerned now. I mean, a lot of them bloody sound Scouse now. Our accent does that to people. But yeah, I see them as just as Scouse as I am. And I don't claim ownership over Scouseness in any way, shape or form, because Liverpool has never been a city of racial purity by any stretch of the imagination, because it's always been a port for years and years, all through the age of expansion, the age of empire, the age of slavery. You know, that Liverpool was a place where we had hundreds of thousands of sailors from all over the world descending on our city streets every year, and they wanted entertainment, and they wanted booze, and they wanted food, and we were a welcoming city to a certain extent. Obviously, we did have our fair share of evil landlords and pickpockets and things, and obviously we did make a lot of our money through slavery, which, you know, in the grander scheme of things isn't great. There's never been a racially pure Liverpool, even back to its founding, because there were a bunch of bloody Vikings around here, which is why we have Kirkdale and Kirkby, because, you know, Viking words. Because got a place called Fazakerley. That's got to be Viking, hasn't it? Fazakerley, exactly, in Fazakerley. So we had all these bloody, you know, Swedes coming over, all these Danes, all these Norwegians coming over here, you know, mixing in our bloodline. Messing up. Before then, we had the Angles turned up, and the Saxons, the bastards. And before then, it was the bloody Jutes, and before that, it was the bloody Romans. I'm probably getting me times mixed up here, but, you know, the Romans. Before then, it was the bloody Beaker people. God, there's bloody Beaker people going around going meep 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 while Professor Bunsen does his experiments. How bloody dare they? Racial purity. It's just Like such pathetic nonsense. It's painful. It's painful to me. Gallifreyan, how do we end up in a situation where a human rights lawyer running the country wants to reduce human rights and the people who oppose hatred are curtailed? Yeah. Why do you keep getting adverts for dating sites? Really not interested. I'm sorry, you shouldn't be getting adverts. It must be because I'm running it off my laptop rather than my desktop PC. You should not be getting adverts. If you are getting adverts, if you're watching this live, you shouldn't be getting adverts. I keep getting ones for Israeli products, keep blocking them, but they keep coming back. Pointless, as I won't be buying anything from them. I block a lot of adverts. But yeah. Excellent Muppets reference there, Graham. Oh, thank you very much, Yuri. I'm glad someone appreciated it. But yeah, so yeah, the free speech without accountability isn't free. Speech is power, and power shapes consequences. And free speech absolutism always defaults to protecting those who already have megaphones, always have these vast platforms, newspapers, social media sites, billionaires, politicians, people who already have the ear of the people. They're the ones who always, but it's about protecting them. But the right defends the powerful from criticism, and not the powerless from harm. That they're not interested in that. They're not interested in defending the women and children in that hotel who were fleeing war and persecution from people threatening to burn down the hotel. They don't want to protect the powerless from harm. They just want to protect the already rich, the already privileged. And then you've got this huge difference between the freedom of expression and freedom from consequences, which is what the right want. And you see it with Donald Trump. He's lived his whole life without consequences. He's done the most vile, horrific thing. He killed 500,000 Americans. More Americans died during COVID, his reign of terror, horror during COVID, than died in the American Civil War. And yet, he still goes on. He still goes on because the media are all, at his heel. Free speech isn't just the right to speak; it's the right to speak back as well. And one side demanding silence, it's because they fear accountability. It's something that we have to point out and say, "Hang on, this isn't right. This isn't fair." And so, what the right want is not free speech; it's impunity. That's what they want. They want a situation where one person with a British passport can be deported from this country, can have his UK citizenship stripped from him for what he said, whereas someone like Nigel Farage can say the most horrific things and no one can strip him of his citizenship. That's the world that they want. There's no equal citizenship there. Imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine if you had a passport for another country, say the United Arab Emirates or Saudi Arabia or Russia even, and that afforded you certain rights and privileges that weren't afforded people who only had one passport. How would you feel about that? Would you think, no, that's not right. That's not fair. How come they get to do that and I don't? Yeah. Well, that's it. That just flip it on its head, and that's exactly the situation we've got now. I'm allowed to do something. I could write something horrifically anti-Semitic on Twitter, and I with no threat of being deported. I might get cancelled. I might lose my YouTube channel. I might go to jail, depending on what I've written, for inciting racial hatred. But I mean, I'm not going to get deported. So I have a right there, don't I? Whereas if you have a citizenship in another country, you can have your British passport taken off you and deported back to that country, even if that country has threatened to throw you back in jail or murder you, put you to death for something that you've done. Migration is why our species has been so successful. Yeah, migration and adaptation. Every step of the way. We've been very, very good at it. Thank you very much for the super chat there, One Angry Pagan. That's very kind of you. And you're absolutely right. Yeah. Migration, adaptation. That's why humans do so well. We can suss things out if we put our minds together. But yeah, the free speech isn't just the right to speak to say whatever you like. It also gives us the right to say no, that's not right. And when dual nationals face existential consequences for a tweet, whereas mononationals don't, that is not fair. when some speech is protected but other free speech is not. That's not fair. Where one one free speech use results in criticism, and another one is beyond criticism, that is unfair. And defensive speech cannot be it cannot be conditional on your politics or your heritage, because otherwise you're becoming a caste system. And we're going beyond class here. We're going into caste. And universal rights must be universal. It must be applied to everyone. Or they just become more privileges for the powerful and the greedy and the evil motherfuckers who are running our world at the moment. And, citizenship, identity, liberty, they're inseparable concepts. And if we're going to talk about fairness, if we're going to be talking about people being treated correctly and punished correctly for crimes that they commit or bad things that they do, it's got to be across the board. Now, I'm happy for this guy to be, raked over the coals for what he's written. I'm happy for him to go to court if necessary. I don't know what, the actual crimes are here. I'm happy for him to be cancelled. That's it. You don't get to go on a platform in a university. But the right want to make it so you have to allow right-wingers to come to your university. If one student says, come to my university, that university has to afford them a platform, which is just disgusting and grim and stupid and evil and just, what? How can you force an institution or, the students' union of a university? Yeah, I love it. Fairness, exactly. Just falling about laughing there. Saying you have to allow this person who is a racist, who is a transphobe, who is a sexist, misogynistic piece of shit, you have to allow them a platform. No, you don't. No, you do not. Kirsty, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Where was the free speech for the Cherokee, Apache, and Sioux nations? Well, exactly. Exactly. And the other nations of Canada and America who were systematically wiped out. Oh, the Aboriginals of Australia. How many Aboriginals are left in Tasmania? None. They were all wiped out. All of them. The only reason why the Aboriginals were not wiped out across Australia is Australia was just too big. It was just impossible. But they tried. Don't forget, when Batman went to Robin, there's a guy called John Batman. He was the guy who founded Melbourne in Australia. And he traded all of Melbourne with the local tribe that lived there for some fucking beans and some shiny gems, some fake costume jewelry or something. And he was raked over the coals for that. He went to court. John Batman did, founder of Melbourne. They took him to court. The British took him to court for that deal that he did, buying the whole of what's now Melbourne for a few beads. A few shiny beads, a couple of gold coins. Not for ripping off the Aboriginals who he ripped off. No, because they didn't really understand the concept of property rights, because it was never a thing that they had to worry about or concern themselves with. But no, it was for trading with the Aboriginals. Yes, you hit that right. He got taken to court and hauled over the coals for trading with them. Because what he should have done is just taken Melbourne. He shouldn't even have given them some shiny beads for a city. He should have just gone, I'm just taking this, because Australia was terris nullius. On nobody's word. Oh God, I'm getting me Latin mixed up again. They said it was empty land. Empty land, they said. And any Aboriginals you might meet from time to time is just a figment of an overactive imagination. So yeah. So see, George Clooney, his British wife, just got French citizenship. Yeah, I don't blame him. Get out of America while they can. I have to admit, I follow X a lot more than I should. Is this Alaa Abd thing a big deal? I don't think that it is. But my take on it, Sam, is that he should not be stripped of his British citizenship. He should face the consequences here in Britain. And I feel the same about Begum, the woman who went to Syria to fight with ISIS when she was 15. She should not have had her passport taken off her. She should come back here, face the consequences of her actions like anybody else would if they only had one passport. Anyway, that's my point on that. If live in Germany, married to one, maybe subject to tests, can get such. It's very hard to get a German passport without surrendering your original passport, isn't it? And once you're German for life. Who is still on Twitter? Well, I'm not, El. I really... That man... that fucking lemon, what's his name? Gobshite. Elon Musk. He is so fucking horrible. He is just one of the real horror shows of the 21st century. And his platform, if you put content on there, he makes money out of it. Because he makes money out of the content that you graciously provide him. So yeah, please don't do that. I can only ask nicely so many times. Just please, if you are on Twitter, it's not worth it, mate. It's not worth it, mate. It's not worth it. Let's go over to the papers to see what the papers have to say about all this. Joshua Crash Horror. This is about a boxer, I think, who was in a horrific car crash yesterday in Nigeria. Anthony Joshua was yesterday pulled from a wreckage of a horror crash that killed two of his closest friends. He was on holiday in Nigeria. Jesus, yeah. I mean, I've travelled through Nigeria. I wouldn't recommend it. And then over here we have Idris Elba, who is now, or Stringer Bell, as I like to call him. Alice, what have you done, Alice? Oh, Alice. That's my Idris Elba impression. He's been knighted. He's now arrived, Sir Idris Elba, which is very cool. I still think he should have been James Bond. And then we've got solar grants for millions to cut home energy use. This is fantastic news from Ed Miliband, vowing to create zero-bill households. Millions of homeowners will be eligible for grants to install solar panels, heat pumps and battery storage. This is fantastic. In an attempt to create new zero-bill homes to win back voters to green energy. Fucking brilliant. Bring it. I want it. I want that free stuff. Give me the free stuff. There's a really horrible story up here. Javier Millet here. Would I like to meet Farage? Absolutely. Yeah, fucking psychopathic gobshite. A guy who would have been absolutely demolished in those elections earlier this year had Trump not given him $40 billion in used £5 notes, or used $5 notes, I guess. So that happened. Unbefrickin-leavable. Honours list, bloody dated. Well, I don't know, Mr. Tisk. I don't mind it as much. I do think that people who have done good things should get some kind of honorific. I have no problem with that, although the E in OBE, or MBE, or KBE, should stand for excellence, Order of British Excellence. That's what it should stand for. And they need to change the medals and everything accordingly and backdate all of the old ones, because the British Empire, yeah, we have an issue. Some of us have a big issue with the British Empire, because it didn't go around just spreading peace, love, democracy and cricket. It also went around stealing a bunch of stuff from other people, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of these countries are still incredibly impoverished. So yes, back onto the papers now, or the papers, while my mum's opening letters next to me. Very distracting, mother. That's all right, I'm joking. It's fine. I'll survive. I'm a consummate professional. Zionists out to get me, claims extremists. Egyptian prisoner in deportation row says words on his online post have been twisted. The Egyptian extremist at the time of deportation row has backed claims that he is the victim of a Zionist campaign. That's a really bad way of taking it. I think this is the Daily Telegraph making bullshit up, but whatever. Boxing Day tragedy. I think this is about the guy who died going out for a swim, or I think he was going out to save people. I don't know. And McAvoy snubbed for honour over tax affairs. This is about Rory McAvoy. Has been snubbed because he's dodging tax or something, I don't know. And then we've got Trump rebukes Ukraine after Putin claims his house was attacked. Fuck off, Trump. And then we've got Joshua Cheat's death in Nigeria car crash. We've got Labour faces $800 billion defence shortfall. Harry and Meghan lose yet another aid. Oh no, they've lost another aid. I'm sure they'll get another one. Italians gate crash. Virgin's Eurostar rival. And then we've got Fury as Starmer refuses to deport Egyptian extremist. He has a British passport. So, you know, this is the Daily Express here. I absolutely love it when right-wing celebrities write horrible things on Twitter, but when a left-wing person writes, nominally, I don't even know about this guy, he might be a right-winger himself, but when someone who's not white writes something they disagree with, it's all, let's get them deported. The I newspaper here, Pride of England, Lionesses lead New Year's honours, and why more women are losing their hair. We've got Daily Star here, It's a Sin, Boxer AJ and Crash Horror. We've got the Guardian here with 1 in 3 believe Britishness is dependent on being born in the UK, which isn't great. And then Hamas has to disarm for peace, says Trump. Good luck with that. And then we've got Zelensky says Putin sabotaging peace talks, which is what I talked about yesterday. No surprise to anyone who's been following this. I mean, Putin has no reason to want peace, because if he gets peace, he will die. So there's going to be no peace while Putin is still alive. It's just not going to happen. Extremist is still welcome in Britain, says Starmer. Downing Street faced a furious backlash last night after saying a controversial Egyptian dissident was welcome in Britain. Well, he's got a British passport. So if you're that angry, take him to court, rake him over the coals, whatever you need to do, but you do it in this country. And now the most loyal aide of the Sussexes has left. So the Daily Mail is freaking out there, and also Auntie Joshua there, and this horrific car crash. Which, you know, do you actually have to show the pictures of it? It's just a bit mawkish, isn't it? A bit morbid. UK should seek new EU defence pact to replace Trump. This is a poll, which I agree with. More than half of British voters want a new military alliance without America to counter threat from Putin, as Ukraine says 15 years security guarantees in latest US plan are decades too short. Yes, they are. We don't know how long Putin's going to last. And then finally, we'll go to the Financial Times, the only sensible paper, really. And we've got the biggest city here. Jakarta faces daily struggle. People observe Jakarta skyline from up at Theramin 9, Indonesia's tallest observatory deck at 383 meters high. The capital has just overtaken Tokyo as the world's largest city, is officially home to almost 42 million people. Wow! After the UN altered its methodology for assessing big conurbations. Big city, it's sinking. US stocks eclipsed by rest of the world as Trump's policies and tech fears take toll. Spooked investors diversify. High valuations haunt Wall Street. China AI advance fuels unease. Online accounting exams scrapped as AI aided cheating gets harder to detect. So yeah, you're not going to be able to do your exam online anymore. You're going to have to turn up in person, which is fair enough. You know, a bit more human interaction. I don't have a problem with that. Tailors and stylists feast as jabs shrink city waistlines. Weight loss drugs are changing life in the city, with tailors doing a roaring trade in alterations. Okay, that is quite random for the Financial Times there. Zelensky wants 50-year security guarantee from the US. Yes. Portillo slammed Crossrail. Rail documentary maker Michael Portillo said the route now known as the Elizabeth Line would never been built, as he sought to cancel it as Treasury Minister in the 1990s released files have shown. So yeah, he'll probably take the credit for it being built, but he didn't want it to be. Lloyd's invoice finance hit. China in Taiwan exercises. Trump crypto firing. A US listed cryptocurrency venture backed by Trump family has fired the auditor it hired just this month after the FT flagged the firm's lack of a license to operate. Flagged the auditor. Not the CEO. Beijing currency signal. Guinea hit by $29 billion claim. And Axis, the UAE-based second largest bauxite producer in the West African country, I think bauxite is what you get aluminium from, has launched a $29 billion arbitration case over the illegal revocation of its mining permit. Good luck with that in Guinea. Win for defence investors. Europe's biggest arms group are poised to return close to $5 billion to shareholders this year as the sector distributes rewards, even as it increased investment after a surge in defence spending. So war, what is it good for? Demanded Edwin Starr the answer to that. It's good for the defence companies, isn't it? It's good for the arms manufacturers. And it's good for the people who own shares in arms manufacturing. The merchants of death, as we like to call them. Planning a trip with Charlie in 2 years' time. Ooh! What? Like John Steinbeck? Okay, that was a deep cut. Adrian, also all indigenous peoples on the island of Newfoundland were wiped out. A group of Bigotry were last seen in 1825. The smaller the island, the easier it is to wipe out. Then no pesky land claims. Yeah, exactly, Adrian. Nowhere reparations to be paid. No investments to be made in the people who actually lived there in the first place. David, a long way to go for a takeaway. Says all the way to Tipperary, I think. And David Peacock just says, I like Marmite, which I think is going to be the last. I think I'm going to give the last word to that because I like Marmite too. Well done, David, for being on the right side of history. Oh, also Bad Fairy says, love Marmite on toast. Marmite on cheese on toast. That's what you want. A little bit of Marmite on your cheese on toast. Mwah. Bella. Okay, so I'm going to go now and find out what the hell my camera is doing because it keeps glitching. I keep seeing a glitch. A glitch? Why are you glitching, camera? I have to take it back to the camera shop. But I will return. So no matter what, I'm sorry about not doing the quiz last night. Everyone who was supposed to come on with it has come down with something. They're supposed to come on the show, but they came down with something instead, which is upsetting. But yeah, hopefully some of my friends will feel a bit better today. I might actually come on the quiz, but whether they do or not, I will have a quiz tonight at 9 o'clock. So please join me here on this bat channel. Not the same bat, yeah, but the same bat time, but it's in the evening. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, please. Come join us tonight for a quiz of the year. It should be a bloody good laugh. And until then, I'll say thank you very much for watching. Thanks very much for the super chats. Really appreciate them. Give us a like on the way out. And if you're not already subscribed, and half the people watching or listening to this are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything, but it really helps us out. And until Billy Kershaw's waving to your mum. There you go. There you go. Oh, you actually write bye for now. Oh, you wrote bye for now. Oh, my mum's watching on her phone just over the other side of the room. Kirsty says, cheers, Graham, and all in chat. Have a great day and wrap up in the cold. Icy here in Scotland. Yeah, it's pretty cold here in Liverpool as well. I've got my big coat. It's going to be okay. Right, so thanks very much for watching, and hopefully see you at 9 o'clock tonight. If not, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for the next Morning Brew on the last day of the year. And until then, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.